Hello, this is John Gilbert, advisor at Security First Asset Management, with a weekly market update and to go over and talk about some upcoming events that we will have. Now, let's go ahead and get into some announcements. So the first quarter of the year is over, and so that wraps up our first quarter referral drawing. Our second quarter referral drawing has now started, so if you would like to be entered into that drawing, please either you can refer a friend, you can invite a friend to come to an event, or you can invite a friend to meet with one of the advisors, and that will have your name entered into that drawing. Now, as far as another event that we have coming up, that is our popular food truck and shred event. That'll be at the back parking lot of the Macon office on April 24th from 4 to 6 p.m. If you would like to attend to either drop something off to get shredded or get some food, please RSVP for that event by April 22nd. Alrighty, so let's get into the market side of things. Last week, there's so much different stuff that happened that we can talk about, but I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I'm sure that none of y'all want to watch me for more than a few minutes, so we'll move through it. So last week, so this is Monday, March the 31st to Friday, April 4th. That marked the end of the first quarter of the year. Now, as we came into the year, markets looked good for about the first month and some change, right? Things were positive to begin the year. Now, as February wore on, as we got to the end of February and as we moved through March, any of those gains that we experienced at the beginning of the year were erased, and all of the three major domestic equity indexes moved into negative territory, with the NASDAQ experiencing the greatest losses and the Dow Jones Industrial Average experiencing the least amount of losses. Now, the negative performance in U.S. stocks in the first quarter was centered around potential tariffs and trade policy uncertainty, and that fueled market volatility. Now, moving from the first quarter to looking at last week specifically, domestic equity got crushed last week. And this is in response to the Trump administration announcements of a broad range of harsher than expected tariffs, which fueled concerns around potential for economic slowdown or resurgent inflation. And so on Thursday, stocks suffered their worst one-day loss since the COVID pandemic. So the S&P lost 4.8%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell almost 4%, and the NASDAQ Composite plummeted almost 6%, right? And so the end of last week, definitely that news put a damper on markets and on investors' expectations going forward. Now, normally a bigger or main event in markets is the release of the Labor Department's closely watched non-farm payrolls report. Now, last week that played second fiddle to the Liberation Day announcement that Trump put forth. And so the non-farm payrolls report, it supported a more optimistic view of the economy on Friday. So that showed that U.S. employers added jobs in March at a much stronger pace than expected. So the stronger than expected report indicates that the U.S. labor market has remained resilient among a volatile few months. And there is uncertainty around trade policy and inflation expectations, and those have weighed heavily on business and consumer outlooks for the economy. But still, the upbeat report didn't do much to improve consumer sentiment on Friday when it came out in lieu of what was announced with tariffs a few days before. Right now, the unemployment rate, which is based on a separate survey from the jobs figures, it ticked up to 4.2%. The VIX, or the VIX, which is a measure of market volatility, sometimes called Wall Street's fear gauge, it spiked nearly 40% higher and closed above 30 for the first time since last August. Now, when the VIX is high, it often means fear is overwhelming logic. And while volatility is never comfortable, it's important to remember that it is a normal part of investing. If folks have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact us. We can schedule you, get you in for a review, or if anyone would like to attend one of our upcoming events, please contact us to RSVP for those. Thank y'all so much. Y'all take care, and y'all have a blessed day.